it talks about in John that Jesus was the light that shined into darkness. And the darkness comprehended it not. But it says, men love darkness rather than light, because what? Their deeds were evil. So we got to realize the reason why God wants to illuminate our life is because he wants to change us into the image of his dear Son. He wants us to be like him because we were made to be like him. Verse 4, and God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Notice this about the way the creation was. The evening was the start of the day, and the rest of the day went. The evening and the morning were the first day. A little backwards than our Gregorian calendar. Our calendar starts at midnight, starts the day, and then it goes around this way. But when the sun goes down, that was the beginning of a new day. Isn't that awesome? So God wants us to learn his ways. And that's the thing about marriage. He wants us to learn how to be able to work together and to love each other. And he gave a commandment. Jesus, he said that he loved you. He said, keep my commandments. And he said, by this shall men know that you're my disciples, because you have love one to another. And then we're admonished in the scriptures that a man ought to love his wife as Christ loved the church and gave his life for it. Now, isn't that something? So what's a woman looking for in a marriage? She's looking for security, and she's looking for affection. And she wants that. And a man of God that knows that can work towards that. Doesn't mean you're going to do it instantly. It's not like, oh wow, I'm going to start doing this today. But it means you can do little things that will cause an ambiance to arise with a nice fragrance to it, where your wife will realize that, hey, there's something different going on here. Something is changing. I'm going to stick around to see what happens. Because many times people get tired of the same thing happening and nothing good in sight. So you want to build hope as the man of God in your household. You want to build hope that things are going to work for the good. And it says here, and God called the light day and the darkness night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the water. So here we have, all of a sudden we see there's water, but now he's creating not only H2O, but he's also creating the atmosphere by which we now are in. And if you condense it down, I'll tell you what, we're in a sea of water, but it's in a gas form. Isn't that awesome? And you can breathe it. And you can live in it. And the purpose for this is I wanted to show you what God was doing in the creation. He was preparing a place for you, that where he is, there you may also be. Jesus said, he said, fear not. He said, let not your heart be troubled, in John 14. He said, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. For in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. But I go and prepare a place for you, that where I am, there you may also be. So we see that Jesus is preparing a place for you. And who are you? You're called the bride of Christ. So what is the Lord doing? He's preparing a place, a habitation for you. In the Jewish tradition, when a man would want to marry a woman, they would get engaged. And they would be, as it were, in contract. This wasn't just a formality. this actually meant that they were going to be married and that they had this commitment to one another. Well, what happens is the man goes and he builds a house. And his father then tells him, well, it looks like it's ready. Go get your bride and bring her in. And when he does, the wedding happens. Isn't that wonderful? So we're expecting a wonderful wedding, and this is what marriage is all about. This is to reflect to the world what God is doing for his people. In verse 6 of Genesis 1, let me read verse 7. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. So all of a sudden now, instead of just water, you also had dry land appearing, because the separation of the water evaporated much of the water, and now there was two areas. One was called heaven and one was called earth, or the sea. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And God saw it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass. Now see, this is going to be something really interesting, because God made a progressional creation. He did this in days. It was called the creation week. And I believe that's how it happened. I'm that simple-minded now. You know, at first I was inundated with all this stuff from, you know, the educational system, who can't prove it and have more faith than I do to believe it. Yeah. But what's really interesting is God is not worried about it. He doesn't care. Let the heathen rage. He doesn't care. All he cares about, are you going to believe the report? To whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? Are you going to believe the report? Are you going to walk contrary to this world in the face of all its contradictions and become strong in the power of his might to be able to do those things that he asked you to do and be valiant and fight? And God said, let there be lights in the firmament. And he divided the day from the night, and let them be for signs, for seasons, and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven. Verse 15. To give light upon the earth, and it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Just a side note. Boy, when you see some of the photographs of the different galaxies that are out there and the stars, it's just amazing how creative God is. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw it, and it was good. Verse 19. The evening and the morning were the fourth day. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly moving creatures that have life, and the fowl that they may fly above in the open firmament of heaven. So after everything was created for life, now he starts to fill the earth with the abundance of life. He created the fish in the sea, and then the fowls of the air. Notice, two different kinds of life created the same day. Isn't that awesome? Science would want you to think that we came out of the sea. But anyway, they never read the first chapter of Genesis. But in the first chapter of Genesis, we're going to learn a lot about God, and we're going to learn